This is the Red Alert. Civil defense information will be broadcast at 6:40.
West of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hello.
Y2K, how can we prepare?
Stop a few of their machines and radios. Throw them into darkness for a few hours.
We are fighting for our lives. My family must survive.
For 5 years, 1,000 gallons of gas, air filtration, water filtration.
Hey guys, Toolman Tim here. Come and join me at Delinquents Gully for a sunset catch-up. So for those who are going to partake this evening, I stopped for a Dollar General beer. It's more than $1 for those who aren't familiar with it, but if anybody wants to know what I'm drinking tonight, it's Busch Light. Had a there's somebody I haven't seen in ages. Mr. Brian Alexievich, was just going to mention him. Had a real good day out here today. So for those who are in the audio, I am sitting at Delinquents Gully cabin up on the ridge that is on Ruby Lane. So Ruby Ridge, I don't know. Anyway, it is what it is. But it's been a week since I've been on here. I've been so busy. Hey, one step closer. Good to see you. I've just been going balls to the wall, getting shit done out here at the cabin that by the time I'm done, there's just not the drive in me to get on live and share. We've got a lot done, and it's been a great time so far. So I figured it was due to come on and do an update. And then Sunday evening, I believe, will be This Week in Prepping. Willow just sent me her latest segment for it, and it's always really good. So I'm not going to go a week without doing it. We've hit a week. We've done them, I believe, the entire trip I've been down here. But yeah, I'm in my second week of at the cabin life, and I'm really enjoying it. So let's try to catch you guys up on what has been going on. And for those, anybody wants to ask questions or just join in the live chat, always good to see everybody. This one's sitting right here. For those who have not seen one of these, this is a Nick Pro, Nicpro. This is a mechanical carpenter's pencil. And it is the literal cat's ass. I know the word literal gets thrown around a lot, but this is so good. My God. It's one of those few things, although I get these things quite often. I'm like, where have you been my whole life? So if anybody's looking for something relatively inexpensive and lasts forever, this is a single lead that goes in there, and it's like those pencils that you'd click, and they'd come out just like you would back in the day, in elementary school, if you had one of those pop-out pencil leads. It's been working great so far. Absolutely love it. So check that out anyway. Just happened to be sitting next to me. I got a ton of gear that I'm testing out for you guys to let you know. I got so many reviews that I will get done when I get back. Brian Alexievich asked, did you enjoy crawling around on the roof? I don't hate roofs. I know it might seem like it, but when you're up there, it was a beautiful day, but the really light colored, it's a galvanized roofing tin. The sun just bakes you when you're up there. But it was 31 degrees Celsius today, which is around 85 Fahrenheit. I did happen to see a couple of people in the Telegram group complaining about the heat in Tennessee, and I couldn't get enough of it. Absolutely fucking loved it. It was slightly warmer today, but no humidity like there was yesterday. The humidity was miserable. I have not been that in sweat in a long time. So I'm on, just so you guys know, if there's any issues with the internet. Internet's been really good, but I'm running Starlink out here, and it just gave me a bit of a notice that the Wi-Fi was slightly low. So if I'm here, I'm not going anywhere for a while. I'm going to sit here until my bush light is gone, enjoy the sunset. I decided I hooked up 2 cameras tonight. I'm trying to figure out the best way to do this for everybody. So if you're wanting to look at the sunset, and if you're tired of looking at my ugly mug, just let me know and I'll bring up the sunset bigger. But you're not going to see it completely, but this is the view from the front porch. I'm actually sitting out here. Anybody wants to know how I got this set up? I've got I'm sitting in a folding lawn chair type thing, camping chair, and I got one in front of me with a piece of plywood, or well, actually OSB, and that is my bench that I'm sitting here. I got 40% battery in the laptop, so we should be good to go for a little while. One Step Closer says, now that's a dollar store beer. Absolutely. Yeah, Brian, what a dickhead. Who needs enemies when friends treat you like that? He says, definitely bring up the sunset so you don't have to look at me. I added the last part, but it was implied. So let's see. When I got out here, very first night since, so Becky, what's it been, about 10 days since she flew home. Took her, her and the girls flew home. I spent one extra day in the hotel and then got all my shit done, laundry, the works. Then came out here, and I've been out here ever since. So when I got here, the cabin, hey, there's my neighbor. It came down last evening for a social visit, off-grid ping. I'm pretty sure that, yeah, Jamie, you guys, if you'd met him at Self-Reliance Festival, so you know who his name is. Anyway, he is just up the road from me, and he has just an incredible little dog named Bruno. Not as little as he used to be, but he was the one at the work day that decided that the exact spot to lay down was where the meat juices were dripping out of the propane stove. So he was in heaven. What a mess, but what a good dog. So it was nice. Yeah, nice thing. Nice trip for you guys to come down last night. I enjoyed that. Good to have a social visit once in a while. I haven't, I thought I would be out here like every day, all day. And just about every day I've ran for supplies and things like that. So it's been kind of nice. All right. So week and a half ago, dropped Becky off at the airport. I went back, spent one more day at the hotel, got some computer work done. And then I've been out here for, oh man, it's well over a week anyway. I don't know. It's kind of fun when you don't exactly know the day of the week. So when I got here, all that was here as far as the cabin goes is the 8x8 with the 4-foot deck that we built for, on the work day, for Delinquents Gully work day. And so I've been working my tail off ever since. And if you followed some of the pictures in the Telegram, hey, Digger, good to see you. So the first thing I did was, Brian has been out here and helped me a metric shit ton. I'm not sure how that converts to imperial measurements, but always a good time. So I doubled. So right here, this is the wall of the original cabin. And so if you go just that way, I doubled it going north. So now what I ended up with was I built the floor and then the shell, put the window in, got the roof on, and completely sheathed in. So now I have the main, the entrance room right here, and then the second room, which will be kind of like a living room / bedroom. That's completed. It was a big deal when I finally was able to cut the archway out between the two rooms. And so then that doubled the floor space. That's where I don't know if you guys had seen it before, but I had this little 4-inch roll-up mat that I've been sleeping on the floor with. And there's the breeze. What a beautiful, beautiful night it is. And I think maybe I'm not sure if that's a plane or a little bit of thunder. I think it's just a plane. So anyway, that officially gave me a bedroom. And when Brian and I first started talking about building these up here, I was sure that an 8x8 cabin with a 4-foot deck would be more than sufficient. I was like, oh, that'll be great. But you know what? I mean, could it be used? Sure. But just an 8x8 kind of shed or cabin, whatever you want to call it, there's not a lot of room to move around in there. I had my fold out, I got the 4-foot folding table, which is kind of my workspace and my food prep area. And then just behind it, I had my rolled out bedroll is all it was. Just enough. You're always tripping on things. You're always walking on your bedroll. You try to clean it up in the morning. And it was just, anyway. So getting the second bedroom or the second room, doubling the space has been a game changer. First off, it gave me an extra 8 feet of deck that way. So we now have an official southern, what do you call it, veranda, porch? Yeah, I guess it's a porch where Becky and I can sit out in rocking chairs and enjoying ourselves. Digger says, tornado sirens going off. Is that there? I see exclamation points, so that means I think so. And One Step Closer says, hardly enough space for a tack and yarn conspiracy wall. I'm working on it because Brian wants to know if I started writing my manifesto yet. I haven't really been in the woods long enough to write a manifesto, but I'm working on it. Let's put it that way. But the word manifesto has taken on a negative connotation, and I want to redeem that terminology. How about that? So window in, porch doubled. So now I have double floor space. And yesterday in the heat, I decided, which was nice, I started picking away. And so we made a slight change of plans to the cabin. Always, that's kind of the fun when you get down here and start building, you realize you might want to do something a little different or whatever. So I talked to Becky, and originally, so we were going to make 2 more 8-foot sections behind us. So it was going to be like 2 more individual whatever you want to call them, 8-foot rooms. And they were going to have like an archway between them. So as soon as I go live, the neighbor drives by, which is no big deal. Basically twice a week or twice a day, we get vehicles come through. At least I'm pretty sure. Let me just make sure. We'll just keep watching. Yep. Went by. That was the Jeep Grand Cherokee. So yeah, there you go. Neighbor went by. That's the excitement for the day. So I was going to do 2 more individual rooms behind us, and one was going to be a bedroom for the girls and one was going to be a bedroom for us. And the more I've thought about it, the girls are getting older. They're not going to be at home for much longer. But when they were down here, they talked about, especially Alice, wanting to have their own little cottage. So I said, well, that'll solve that. So what I'm doing behind now, same footprint. So it'll be 8 deep and 16 long. But instead of it being 2 rooms, I'm just building it as one big section, which is actually quite nice. So that'll give our room a little more room to expand and give us some room for, kind of a living space. And if we need people to stay, we're going to put in the room I just built. So I now have an official mattress, the very first mattress in here. Just got one of those roll up, not inflatable, but they compact them, then they ship them, and then you open them up and they expand to a full size. Just got a double mattress, and I'm going to kind of make a redneck version of one of those not trundle beds, but the beds that fold up against the wall. So that'll be nice. That'll give us some extra space. So it's going to give us kind of an 8x16 master bedroom back there that we could put Murphy bed. Thank you. One step closer. We could put a kind of a curtain up if need be. So there's that. So Brian so yesterday I got the floor up, the foundation. The biggest problem was when I did the measurements, I knew I needed 8 and 8/16 and 8 is 24. I knew I needed 24 feet, kind of, I don't know, east, west, whatever you want to call it, for this cabin, so that I could be facing to watch the sunset and facing to watch it rise if we wanted to. And I measured between these 2 massive stumps, and I knew we had just enough room, probably by a foot, maybe. And then I was looking the other day, and I realized when we built this cabin, we were a solid foot back from the closest stump. And so when I measured out going back that way, well, it ran just into the stump. And instead of making it 6 inches narrower, and I wanted the full 4-foot porch or deck or whatever, I decided to chop into that with my the kukri knife that Becky won at SRF, and it worked great. Took me some time, but I got what would it have been, a 12 by 16 pad built yesterday, and then I started framing the 2 end walls up. And this is what you don't do after a long, hot friggin' day of working, and you're exhausted, and all of a sudden you're sitting there, and that little voice in your head says, you could have done more. So then you get back up and you decide you're going to frame up the 2 end walls, and then you get started working today with Brian and discover that so I used an 8-foot board on the bottom, an 8-foot footer on the bottom of the wall. And at the top, I used an 8-foot one as well. However, the top one goes from 8 feet to 7 feet. So it slopes. So we ended up losing about 3 inches, and it made the whole wall that way. It was atrocious. It was horrible. But thank goodness Brian was here. He helped me out, and we were able to make some modifications. And the wall was great. So I'm actually pretty proud of what we got done today. So I got, like I said, floor and the 2 side partitions in. And when Brian got here, he started cutting off the rafters. So when we built it, we kind of built it as we wanted to leave it in case, I basically made one 8-foot section, and it stayed for a while. So we had a big overhang on the back with the rafters and metal hanging over that. So Brian got all those rafters and the metal cut off while I was framing up the 2 back walls, I guess you would call them, 2 8-foot back walls. One has a window in it, one has a window and a door. So we got that done. And then 16-foot 2x4s for the roof trusses. So we got all those in. Brian had the great idea of cutting spacers so that we didn't have to measure every time. Again, what a great idea. And Digger, have a good night, man. Yes, and stay safe if you're in tornado country right now. So we got the strapping on the roof. again, we cut some pieces that allowed us to space things out. And then we got the metal roof. And then we put the roof cap on. Well, not quite in that order, but what we have standing right now is the entire outline of the cabin with the full roof on, the porch in the back. So what do we have left tomorrow? We have to sheathe in the north-south walls. We have to sheathe in the main 16-foot wall, install 2 windows, a door, and this kind of the fancy carrying beam that we have out here. Get that done. And my plan for coming down here, the 16-foot, well, the multiplied by 4 cabin is done. So I am stoked about that. We'll have that done tomorrow morning. And then we're going to hang out with some fellow delinquents tomorrow evening for drinks and cigars. So that will be good. And then it looks like Saturday evening, some other fellow delinquents. And if anybody else is listening to this and you're in the Camden area, we are going to Birdsong Drive-In Theater, which is just the most incredible place. It's in Camden. It's kind of hidden, like you don't even know it's there. And we're going to see Jaws. So I believe Melissa and some of her family and a friend are coming. And yeah, it should be a really good time. I went there last week, if you happen to see, and I went and watched Back to the Future. Somebody showed up with a legitimate DeLorean, which was kind of cool. I met a lady who had a vintage 1970s Polaroid camera with new film, of course. And I asked her, I said, do you go around and offer to take pictures for a fee or whatever? And she said, no, I've never done that before. Well, I said, well, if you'll take a fee for me, I'll pay you for a photo. So I give her $10 because I wanted to make it worth her while. And I got one of the coolest friggin' souvenirs that I have had in a long time. It's me standing in front of the DeLorean, and the photo is got that kind of washed out Polaroid look to it. It looks like a photo you would see in a movie from the 80s. So that made my day. I'm going to actually leave it here on the wall in the cabin. So there's that. So we got that done. I've made a couple of trips. Let's see. What has been my biggest frustration lately? Power. That's the big one. So I've been trying to get the power worked out and working properly. And so what do I have here? Roughly, I'll give you the gist of what I have. I mean, I have some miscellaneous power banks, but I brought 2 kind of medium-sized to large-sized solar power stations. I brought the Blue Eddy, which is around 750 watts, and I brought the Anchor, which is around 1,250 watts, I believe. So the plan was to use one of these folding solar panels to charge it. Well, I didn't have, anyway, I'll give you the whole story because I'm sitting here drinking beer and I'll share it with you. But the plan was to use both. So it's a 200 watt foldable solar panel. And the same problem I ran into last year was I needed a splitter to hook into both. I didn't have a splitter, so I was only able to pull 100 watts. And it barely put a dent in the charging on the solar panel or on the power stations. So when I'm using the Starlink, I use it for maybe 4 or 5 hours every evening. I just kind of turn it on, and then I'm able to like FaceTime with the kids and with Becky and, do my work and that kind of stuff. So I can get about 3, maybe 4 days out of the big system, probably 3, which is fine, except when you run into needing it for other things, like charging DeWalt batteries or charging up your phone and that kind of thing. So you end up going through it. I would say every 2 days needing to charge something. So I thought, okay, well, this is great. What am I going to do? And so I was thinking, well, I'll take them with me when I go. I go up to the Love's gas station or the truck stop there for showers occasionally. So I was like, I found a spot there where I could plug it in. It was just a huge pain in the ass. So for a couple of days, since I didn't have the right equipment with me, I was plugging it into the DC, so the cigarette lighter adapter, and then plugging that wire into the power stations. The problem is the max output you can get on those is around 120 watts, which means that big power station would take about 12 hours of idle time on the vehicle to charge. Not worth it. So what I would do is I would plug the small one in while I was running errands or going out of town to pick up supplies and that sort of thing, which is great. But it just wasn't enough. I wasn't staying on top of it, and I was constantly fighting with trying to have just enough power here. I have plans. I'm buying a big solar panel from Sean and that kind of thing. So, and I didn't bring any inverters with me. I thought about it, but really space was adding a premium. So I picked up a 750 watt inverter from loves as well. And I thought, this should do it, because I was thinking they charge around 750, or if they didn't, I could probably get in and tinker with the settings and get it to charge. Well, nope, 750 was not enough throughput, and that's 750 running watts, not not spike watts or whatever. So it wouldn't work. I could not get enough charge. I couldn't get it to charge either of my battery banks. So I was back to square one. So the next time I went to Savannah, I thought, well, I'm just going to bite the bullet and buy a 1500 watt inverter. Sure, no problem. So I pick it up, I bring it back. I'm like, this will be great. I'm going to hook everything up and I'll be good. Just so everybody knows, at Harbor Freight, if you buy the inverter, the wires don't come with it. You have to buy them separately. Now, some places are like that, some places are not, but Harbor Freight is that way. So when you come back after a half hour of being out of town and you don't have the wires, well, you're set for yet another day to have to wait. So then I went and picked up the wires, got them hooked up, and I could only get enough throughput to charge the smaller unit. For some reason, I think I wasn't getting a good enough connection with my battery. It would not pull enough wattage to charge the big one. So my workaround for that was plug the inverter into the small one, and then plug the small one into the big one and charge them like a daisy chain. And it worked great. So now I have the gear that will charge them in about an hour. So what I can do is first thing in the morning, I go down to, use the facilities or bring up some stuff from the truck. I take whichever one needs to be topped off, hook it up to the truck, let the truck idle for an hour, hour and a half, and Bob's your uncle. So I have the setup now. I have a small 1500 watt generator a company gave me, Power Smart, I believe it was. So I'm going to bring that down and leave it in the storage unit eventually, just so I have some backup to the backup. But the plan is to pick up, I can't remember exactly the wattage of it, but a single panel Sean has that's the right voltage to work with my gear. And we're going to mount it on the ground, just like similar to how my neighbor Jamie has his. And that should give us enough to keep that topped off all the time. So there's that. Let's see. So that covers power. How about water? So that's the next thing that I haven't gotten very far with yet, but I'm working on it. So I bought an IBC tote. It was, you go to this self-serve place just out of town. Hey, Gunfighter Concealment. It says, hit that thumbs up button. Appreciate it. And, I don't know if I shouted out to Ryan Pippin yet or not, but Ryan, I've been thinking about you a lot lately. I have seen a ton of Jeeps that have ducks on them. And I know that's a thing, but it's just, there's been so many of them. And every time I see them, it makes me chuckle. So there you go. So water. I haven't gotten too far into the water situation yet, but I did buy an IBC tote at this self-serve place about a half an hour away from here. It's 275 gallons. And the cool thing is the plastic is impregnated with a black color. So algae should be a much less of a problem. So that's going to be my rain catchment. I'm probably going to get a second one of those. And then I'm going to put gutters on every roof surface that I have here. So that'll give me 10, 20. So I'll have 20 feet of rain catchment. And so let's see, the total surface area is going to be roughly 12, maybe 13 by 16. So, 150. So we're talking 350 or a little better square footage of roof area. That will be plenty to keep that tote up for what little bit we're going to use. And he said, do you know the water, Gunfighter says, do you know the water table in your area? Not really, no. So I have multiple plans for water, but so the two things, like I said, it's going to be as much rain catchment as I can get. And then I have plans, may not happen this time, but I've bought some tarps and stuff to start damming up. There is a stream that runs down here. Now, it's not a big stream. The water's still fresh. It's definitely coming from an underground source somewhere because it's always trickling. So we're going to, I'm going to build a dam there. I've got a little utility pump from Harbor Freight that should be rated for way more than I need to bring it up that little bit of a hill. So we're going to do rain catchment, and we're going to do stream water. And then, of course, we got filtration and that kind of stuff. But yeah, so that's the water situation. I'm definitely behind on the water. Everything that I bring in so far, for the most part, any of my wash up water in the morning, I'll go down and fill it up from the stream and use that. Or when the ice melts in the cooler, I'll use that too. But so water, definitely behind the 8 ball on the water for a bit, but it'll get there. Electricity, coming around. Storage space, this is great, having this big full area here. And I'll share you some more ideas. I want to read. Pippin says, cheers, Tim. The ducks are always good for a smile. Nicole LFTN should have received a few ducks with some custom etched glasses. Always fun to share some ducks. It is, and it just makes me smile and chuckle. I went up to Love's this evening for a shower. If you guys haven't, okay. Love's has points, and they are the truck stop. They're great. Their showers are $18, so it's not like I go there all the time or anything. But I need to figure out a way to get more points, because they really only provide you with points and free showers when you're getting 50 gallons of gas a week or more. And for the most part, I'm not. So I got to figure out a way to get some points, or find a trucker who's willing to sell me some of their free showers, which that seems really shady to say that. But anyway, so Byron says, have you thought about building a ram pump for the stream instead of electric? Yes, I have, actually. I love ram pumps. The problem is that the flow here is just not good enough. It can be, like when I was out here, let's see, when I first came out, before I went and met up with Becky and the girls in Nashville, there was quite a flow there that I could have made a small ram pump with. The problem with ram pumps is you need lift. So I think Sean said it's 3-to-1. I could be wrong. So for every 3 feet of drop, you'll get 1 foot of lift, I believe. So I've thought of a few different things. So you can't see, but basically over above where the camera is here. So if you follow where that door is laying on the ground for the sunset video, that's the main path. And it goes down there and off to, right over there is the bridge that Carrie and his buddy built. So that crosses the stream, and the stream runs down in that little gully behind me, which is great. But then it does work its way up the hill. So somewhere up the hill, it has to be coming out of a spring. So if I could find it above the height of the cabin, then I could technically use gravity at least to somewhat bring some of the water down. The problem is that as it goes up there, it kind of disappears into the ground, and it's really hard to find. So that may be an option. And yes, I would love to have oh man. Yeah. Anyway, so Pippin, Tim steps out of a shadow alley. He says, hey brother, got a few showers you want to barter? Yeah, absolutely. That seems shady as all hell. But yeah, anyway, so the lady at the truck stop said quite often, if truckers come in at the same time you're there, they'll give them to you for free. And I'm like, I don't really want to have a free shower from a trucker. But anyway, but I do use, I have my fire maple. I'm going to have to do just a whole episode some evening while I'm here and show you all of the, what do we got? All the gear I've been using, because there's a ton. But I've got the fire maple jet boil stove, which is just awesome. I've been using that for everything. Use it for cooking, use it for boiling water. I'm making coffee. I use it for heating up water for, a Navy shower, whatever you want to call it. All of it's been great. And that thing is a workhorse. So I got a canister of gas for it before I even had the stove. And I ended up inheriting a part canister from Nicole. She gave it to me last year when I went to visit her at her place. We were both going to the Midwest Preparedness Festival, and she didn't want to fly with it. So she gave it to me to take up. She used it while she was up there with her jet boil stove to make coffee. And then when the show was over, she gave it to me and told me just to take it with me. I was like, okay, works. So I held on to it, took it home with me. And then I ended up, Alice and I needed a way to cook out in the garage for when we're doing the food videos and stuff. So I picked one of those up and using it. It's been friggin' awesome. So I got to do a whole review on that fire maple. It is so good. And it's, 2/3 the cost of a jet boil. But yeah, I'll do an up close view of it here one of these nights. Just I got to check the power on my laptop to see. We're 20%. I may have to get up and plug it in here in a minute. We'll see if we can do it without, knocking everything over. But the bush light isn't even close to being empty yet. So there you go. All right. So yeah, the fire maple's been really good. I got to do a whole thing on my get home bag, because the idea was to bring that down here and just use the hell out of it to kind of figure out what works, what doesn't, and get experience with this stuff. Because, it's all good and well to carry the stuff, but if you're not practicing with it, well, you're kind of hooped, aren't you? So yeah, kind of leading into that, I put a bottle of 30% DEET in there. I wish I'd have put 40 in, but 30 is working good. So we've had quite the tick infestation here. And if you've heard about that, it's been, they've been just horrible. And I guess it's a year for them. So like last night when I finished working, I had maybe 15, maybe 20 ticks on me all over. And if anybody's itching, I understand, trust me. So I decided enough was enough. So I picked up some, oh, you're going to hate me for this. You're going to shoot me for it. But I picked up some spray to spray the ground with. And it seemed to work pretty good. So I just kind of covered the path coming up in this whole living area up here because my goodness, the ticks have just been miserable. So between that, tucking my pant legs into my boots and applying a liberal dose of 3% DEET today, I only had 2 ticks on me. So I think that stuff, it's Ortho Home Defense. I've used it in Canada quite a bit. It works great for ants, but it just, yeah, it's supposed to work really well for ticks as well, but it takes some time to work in and kind of work. So I would expect the amount of ticks to go down a bit. Yeah, so that was my solution. I know some people would like a healthier or a more natural solution, but my solution was to, you know, go scorched earth on them and hopefully take care of them. So I will keep you guys informed on how it works, but the ticks have just been a huge problem here this year. Pippin says, yes. So question, Tim, any work days planned around October Self-Reliance weekend? Yes. So I have told you guys I am not taking a road trip in the fall. That is 100% correct. However, I will be attending Self-Reliance Festival along with Becky, and we're going to fly in about a week before the event. And we're thinking of having probably 2 work days, like I'm probably Wednesday, Thursday or something like that around, or so, yeah. So we'll make it, we'll talk some more as a community and figure out what works best for everybody. But yes, we're going to have probably 2 work days tied into Self-Reliance Festival because it'll be, yeah, it's so great to have everybody here. There'll be food and drinks and, you know, I'll be here hanging out and watching you guys work. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, so we're gonna have to figure out what projects need to be done, where we go from there. But yeah, so that's our plan, is to come down for about a week around Self-Reliance, put a couple of good work days in with the community, have some good fellowship, and enjoy ourselves. So yes. So answer, yes. I've been asked by a few people now if we're going to do it, so we pretty much have to. Brian says, a solar panel and some limit switches on an electric pump would be perfect. Only pumps when the sun shines until you hook up a battery. That, I think that would be like the DC direct pumps or whatever that Sean was talking about, direct solar. And that, yeah, that would be great. That's kind of some kind of plan for that. So yes. Byron Roberts says, glad to hear the Fire Maple is doing good. Need to order one. It really is a good stove. And the thing I didn't mention, I got into, but it just blew me out of the water how long one of those canisters of gas lasts. So like I said, I believe it was a new one when Nicole gave it to me. I took it to Midwest Preparedness for her. She used it that whole weekend for cooking and coffee and everything. I took it back with me. Alice and I used it for 4 or 5 MRE videos and that sort of stuff out in the garage. Then I brought it down here and I cooked with it. I made coffee every morning. I heated up water for a Navy shower multiple times. And I just ran out of that very first canister yesterday or the day before, whatever day it was that Brian messaged me and said, hey, Tim, do you need any extra gas? And I said, no, I'm good. Because I do. I have 2 brand new canisters in my get home bag. They're light as a feather, but man, they are efficient like nobody's business. So it looks like we have yet another puffing strike. I don't know how if I can ban you from in here. I don't think I can from Twitch, but somebody is trying to sell me YouTube channels, viewers, followers. Anyway, so Wired Edge Workshop says having a full-length mirror on the door helps to check for ticks in those hard-to-see areas. Yep, that is something I'm going to have to add here because it's definitely something that is needed, if you know what I mean. So, and Brian says he always has gas to spare. Well, you know, growing up, my dad had the keychain that said world's largest source of natural gas, and he always said I was going to inherit it. So I usually have gas to spare as well. So that covers ticks. That covers the construction, water. Oh, yeah. So I had a great conversation with Becky tonight. The plan, since I'm going to have some time, was to build the composting toilet up here. which is cool. And we picked up one of those little ringer. They only draw about maximum 350 watts. Our neighbor Jamie has one. They're a spinner washer. So we picked one of those up. So now we need a little area for some laundry. So the original plan was to just build a standalone shower and a standalone composting toilet back behind the cabin somewhere. So we got talking while I was driving, and I think what we're going to do, and also I wanted to build a small storage room or storage shed up here because we just have so much little stuff that we'd like to keep in one place. So I think we're going to build some sort of like camp. You know, when you go to, I don't know if you guys did, but when I was a kid and we used to go to camp for a week or whatever, there was Johnson's Christian Camp, and that's where we would go. And it was, through the church and stuff. And they always had some really cool buildings. So this will be like that. So it's going to be probably, I don't know, 8x8, since I seem to love 8x8, but it's going to be off in the corner here. And we're going to put a little composting toilet in there, a little shower stall, a little spot for the ringer washer, and then a spot for storage for tools and things. So that'll be our kind of all-in-one shed back there, and it'll be close to where I'm storing the IBC tote for water. And Brian says 14 watching and only 7 thumbs up. Make sure you hit it. We actually have 18 watching at the moment from StreamYard, so there's some people over on, but I did get 4 thumbs up over on Facebook. So, I didn't realize. John Michael, Ryan Pippin, Byron Roberts, and Carrie Brown. Thanks for doing your job, guys. Appreciate it. Pippin says thumbs are up. Check your clicks, people. No, I appreciate you guys very much. So that'll give us storage back there, which is going to be great. Okay, what else have I? So, another cool thing that I hadn't considered before, but I go to Savannah. Yes, and I also, for the record, did not know that Savannah was in Tennessee. There's a Savannah in Tennessee. Everybody knows Savannah, Georgia, but yeah. So about 25 minutes from here is a pretty good size city, I guess. It's got a Walmart, it's got a Lowe's, it's got some nice restaurants, a Harbor Freight. So it has everything you really need, you know. And I go to the Lowe's there occasionally for things like the footing blocks and different things. And I would normally buy my lumber from the local lumber yard, and I still buy some stuff there. But I went into Lowe's the other day, and I was looking to pick up enough material to build the back half of the cabin. So I had a budget in mind or whatever. And the dude took all my information, signed me up for the Rewards Pro Extra, which is, I think anybody can get it if you're doing large jobs, but it was, so it helped that I had my hat for, workshop radio, but he's like, do you have a business? I said, oh yeah, it's property management. So he signed me up, and of course you need to have an American address, which I have. And it wasn't that bad with the Canadian phone number, which was good. So signed me up, and we got everything. The dude walked me through the whole store. We had 4 carts full of lumber and that kind of stuff. And when it was all said and done, I saved 25% of my order, saved over $500 by taking half an hour to talk to the dude signing up for Pro Extra. So yeah, saved me 25% off of all of my material. So that was a huge bonus, made me really happy. Anytime you can save money, because then you can turn around and use it for something else. So Starlink, that is a game changer, folks. It is just awesome. I mean, so I have a Canadian phone that has an American plan on it, so I can roam and use my data beautifully. The problem is that down here in Delinquents Gully, and it's not a problem, you get some privacy, but I can get about 1 bar sitting up here on the porch, which is okay. It kind of keeps me from having to like answer phone calls and stuff quite often. Sometimes the phone calls will come through, a lot of times they drop. No big deal. However, I could not live stream from out here. Brian, Carrie, and I tried last April, so like a year and a half ago when we first walked the property, sitting on the tailgate in the driveway, and it did not work. It was freaking horrible. So anyway, so I knew that if I was going to ever come down here long term, that I need to have access, at least in a non-collapse scenario, of course. I need to have access to the outside world with the internet so that I can live stream while sitting here drinking a Busch Light that I bought at Dollar General and watch the sun go down as the mosquitoes start coming out. So I knew I needed some internet, and I knew Brian had been using the Lots Project, and Ryan Buford, from the Next Generation podcast, Prepper Dad, he had been using it too, and it was getting better and better and better for sure. So I've been using it, guys, and it really is. I know I use that word a game changer. It's so damn easy. The one thing I ran into was when you sign up, if you want to use it mobile, make sure you tell them you want it mobile, because if not, it seems to default. The cheaper setting is just for one location. Elon is listening, Brian says. So when I first set it up here, I couldn't get connected because I didn't pay for anything other than my home address. So it's like $10 more a month and you have roaming. So I had that. And so, yeah, I've got it here. Now, as the trees grow in and the leaves come in a little bit more, there's going to be a bit more of an issue, but I'll just move it back. I'm just going to make sure you have to have basically a 45-degree angle looking straight to the north view. And then you can look on the app and see where the little dots are that are, blockages and stuff. So I'm going to make some more of that, but yes, it has made life so good. So when Becky and I decide we want to start coming down here a lot, then that's going to make it, easy for her to do her work that she needs. And so I see a greased up butcher in here. Backwoods Butcher. Good to see you, brother. Actually, really good to see you. So, yeah. So Starlink has been great. What else have we been using for gear? Picked up, I think I've told you this, but we had, Backwoods says we don't even have buds on the trees yet. Yeah, I know. I did look at the cameras in the backyard at home today, and there's no snow on the ground, but there's not a single bud or leaf anywhere. It was 1 degree Celsius tonight when Becky called me, which is 33 Fahrenheit, 34 Fahrenheit. They did have snow yesterday. So I am so excited that I basically shortened my winter by 2 months by coming down here. So it is great. If you guys can give me a second, I didn't think my battery was quite as low as it is. So let's see if we can get out of here without knocking shit over. I'm just going to grab the cord. Here, enjoy my beer. See if we can do that without spilling it. And I'll be right back. I think we're going to need some extra light too. There we go. We got some light. We'll enjoy it. Anybody on the audio, we'll just say we had technical difficulties during this portion of the podcast. That's all it is. So we can plug this in here. There we are, guys. Yeah, the Fed's got Tim. No, you know what I did? So here we are. Can you hear me okay? I'll bring the other so you can enjoy the sunset here. So I went in there in the dark to plug in the laptop, and I hit the little cute round button that turned about. It wasn't Starlink at all. It was on me. So I hit the power button on my Blue Eddy, actually on my Anchor power system, and completely powered down my Starlink. So I had to wait for it to boot back up. So there you go. Starlink was really good. And yeah, so there we are. Let's see if we can share an extra camera for you. Let's bring this up. There you go. There is the beautiful sunset at Delinquents Gully. It's getting pretty sunsetty in here, but last evening when Jamie was down, it was weird. It was overcast. The moon was out, and it was plenty bright enough for Jamie to walk down the hill and get on his electric bicycle without needing any extra supplemental light. So it's kind of nice. Byron says, did you bring any of the new batteries and adapters you got for reviews? I didn't bring any of the batteries, but I brought the charger, and I will show you. I might be able to reach that right here without knocking everything over. Let's see. Yep. So this was the knockoff DeWalt battery charger that they sent me. I've been using this. This thing is a dream. Talk about rapid. It charges on the Anchor power system. It charges the power stack batteries in about 40 minutes and the 5 amp hours in less than 2 hours. So it is a very fast charger. It works just like the DeWalt and a quarter the price. I needed a charger to bring with me, so that has worked. I went into the local True Value Hardware the other day, and they had a deal I couldn't turn down, of course, you know how it is. But I wanted one of those DeWalt cutout tools, you know, for when you put up your sheathing on your windows, you can just zip around, kind of a zip tool or whatever. And they had it. If you bought it, you got 2 for free. And so in my mind, thank you very much. Yes, I will take it. Now that was Starlink, the very first time we've had it drop all evening, but it only lasted for a second. So I've been using the jet boil stove, which we talked about, the Anchor battery system, the Blue Eddy battery pack. Since I've been down here, I picked up 2 portable monitors for my laptop, which allows me to do my This Week in Prepping shows, because those are almost impossible to do without at least one supplemental monitor. I've been using, I hope this isn't too bright, but this is a Duracell rechargeable lantern that also works as a battery pack. I picked that up at Costco. We got the battery-powered mug I've been using. Not so much, don't like it. The mechanical pencil I mentioned. The DeWalt air nailer. I've been using the DeWalt framing nailer like crazy. Picked up some 511 gear. It's not bad. I picked up some shooting gloves that are also work gloves. They're supposed to be abrasion resistant. Well, they're certainly not cut proof, because I slit the end of it open, one of the fingers, with a metal roofing today and cut it in my finger a little bit. But they're really comfy and they work great for handling wood and that sort of thing, but they're not super abrasion resistant. I've been breaking in some new pairs of 511 boots, which I love, so you'll get a review on those eventually too. A little bit of SOE gear that I've been testing out, and the dash cam, which my brother-in-law got me as a great gift. It's a pain in the ass though, so I think I need to upgrade to a different one, or at least try something different. But I do like how it works, that's for sure. And there's a metric shit ton of other gear around here that I've been testing out. I've just been trying to put reps in, and yeah. So Pippin says, is there a 511 store in Tennessee? There is a 511 store in Tennessee. It is in Nashville, and it's near. So Sean Mills recommended another mall for us. I want to say it was like Green Hills Mall or something. Either way, that's where we were when the eclipse took place. So we were able to go up on the top floor, the open floor of the above ground parking, and watch it there. And while we were up there, I spied a 511 store across the street. So it was, Brian says, great for handling the wood. He, like a little kid. Yes. So yes, the 511 store is in Nashville, and it was a lot of fun. I went in, shot a little bit of footage there, not a lot. I didn't want to, kind of get carried away, but I did pick up a bunch of little things. I've been trying some different gear for everyday carry on my key ring. So that's been a new thing. Picked up some gloves. What else? I picked up a cozy for drinks that has lights built in. I picked up some glow tags for my 511 bags, all kinds of neat things. So, and Pippin says, crap, there goes more of my American debt dollars. Yeah, I know, man. I do. I like the store. It had everything. Oh, and I went in there and explained to them about my boots, the zipper falling apart, and they couldn't warranty it for me, but they were nice enough to give me a discount on my entire order to make up for the cost of the boots. So I more than bought some more extra stuff. Now, if you buy from 511 or an authorized dealer online, I bought it from a dealer on eBay, so that's my own fault. But if you buy from an authorized dealer or direct from them, they will replace them if they wear out, not through abuse or misuse, but just regular use for the life of, well, for a lifetime. So that's worth it. And you can sign up with your email, but you don't have to as long as you have a receipt. I mentioned going to the drive-in. That was a hell of a time. It was a really good time. First time in my 43 years on this planet that I actually went to a drive-in. So went and saw Back to the Future. Like I said, we're going this week for Jaws. We're having a cigar and bourbon night tomorrow night with some fellow workshop delinquents who are here for the work day. That'll be a hell of a lot of fun. Brian and I are going to knock out, hey, Carterly. I probably mispronounce your name every time, but evening. Good to see you. So what's going on back home? I should fill you in on this. The day before, this has been quite the ordeal with our rental. So we own a 2-unit rental across the street from us. My son lives downstairs, and my son's friend, who we've kind of adopted as another son, lives upstairs. They both pay rent. So the day before, 2 days before I was ready to leave, I get a call from the guys who cleaned out the sewer line for us. And they said, we didn't get any after pictures from the guy who did the work. Could you go over, take some pictures, send them to us so that I have proof the work was done for the insurance claim? And I was like, yeah, sure. Why not? No problem. So I go over, stroll my ass downstairs, lift up the old murder hatch that there is. If you guys have ever seen those, are awful. Jose Rivera. Rivera. There you go. Good to see you, man. So I get down to the basement, and what is there but another friggin' half a foot of water? And it was a mess. And we knew, I was like, well, that means the line's collapsed. It's going to have to be fixed. So that was March 17th, I guess. I drove out on the 19th. So we called that day, put in an insurance claim, and they said, yep, we will be there to fix it. Well, what a friggin' rigmarole. I mean, the insurance is great, and they do cover it, but it backed up into the basement over the next 2 weeks. It was slowly draining, and then it stopped. They were supposed to be there on the 21st of March to clean it up. So that would have been 4 days after I called them. They no-showed. They continued to no-show for over a week. We ended up getting a bunch of sewer in the basement, and guess what? The company that we have insurance with covers replacement of all of that stuff. It covers cleaning out the lines, but it does not cover cleaning up of the sewer. So we had to pay out of pocket for that. That's fine. Well, in the meantime, we had scheduled a renovation for the rental, which is also, it was great. It needed to be. We want to invest in those properties. We want them to last. And the plumbing was just absolutely falling apart in the in that house. I mean, it's just old. So every time you touch Jeremy, one step closer, says that stinks. Absolutely. Jose says on a 45-minute workout or walk with Carterly. Good to see you. She is doing 75 hard. Great. I will hide the beer then. I shouldn't show you that, but this is not beer. It's something else. That's great to hear you doing that. I'm proud of you guys. Keep it up. So we planned a massive renovation in there for while I was gone. So we had the contractor and everything hooked up. They couldn't test any of the water, so it backed up. So here's the deal. Basically, they've been doing all the renovations. All the plumbing had to be replaced, which we kind of expected. So we had them in there. There was knob and tube wiring, which needed to be fixed by my buddy who's an electrician. So plumbing, electrical, all of the carpentry. It's all been done. They're ready to turn everything back on. Actually, I had to have the main, my main plumbing people go in there and put a new shutoff valve and everything. And guess what? As of today, we still don't have a working sewer line for that place. So we are talking March 17th to what is today? April 18th. So that would be 32 days at the moment that we've been waiting. The company came today that is going to dig up the line, and they said, well, before we can do it, we have to cut down these trees. I was like, okay, do it then. So there you go. So trees cut down, had to pay to have sewer cleaned up on our own dime, even though it wouldn't have happened if they'd came when they were supposed to. An entire renovation. So, what may have been a $6,000 or $7,000 job is probably going to be double that or then some, but that's fine. It needed to be done. We wanted to, B-Man J says that's crap. It was crap, but it's going to be something that's going to extend the life of that rental by decades. It needed to be done. So next year we're going to do the upstairs bathroom, because in that house the plumbing is horrible. So if we can get that fixed, the rest is just putting lipstick on a pig at that point. The outdoor needs to be, eventually we need to put a new roof on it and improve the stucco, that kind of stuff. But overall, the thing that needed to be done the worst was the bathroom. It was just absolutely falling apart. My God, I was reading too many comments all at once there. I'm not falling asleep, not yet anyway. So still got some beer left. So yeah, so that big project's all done. Now, Charlotte has, we call it provincials in Canada, but you guys would call it state championships. So those are this weekend for her volleyball, which is awesome. It really sucks that I'm going to miss it, but it is live streaming on the internet, so I'll be able to catch some of that on the weekend. So Becky's driving up to the city with the girls, taking them to volleyball. Amy, my sister-in-law, is going to bring them back, but Becky is then driving down to Calgary, which is a 3-hour drive from Edmonton, and flying out from there to come down with me. And she's going to come down and spend, as long as everything goes well up in Canada, she's going to come down and spend the rest of the 3 weeks I have left on the trip. So what do we have left on the trip from here? I've got, so Monday, I'm at Delinquents Gully until Monday. Then I go to Nashville to pick up Becky. And then I think Tuesday, we're going to drive back to Delinquents Gully for 2 nights. And I'm really excited to have her here. It's going to be the first night she spent out here. And yeah, so that's a big deal. So Tuesday night, Wednesday night at Delinquents Gully, get up Thursday morning, drive to the hauler, Nicole Sauce, for her Living Free in Tennessee spring workshop. So we'll be there for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and we're going to take a day in a hotel there, get our laundry done. We always kind of try to catch our bearings after Ella, and it's a pretty intensive kind of 3.5 day event. I love it. It's a lot of fun. So from Gordonsville, Tennessee, we're going to turn around, drive back the kind of 3-ish hours to the Gully. So that'll be what? We'll be down here Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, and then Thursday we're driving to Harmony, North Carolina for the Mountain Readiness Festival. That's gonna, I'm looking forward. It's the first time I've ever gone to that. Franklin Horton's going to be there. Angry American's going to be there. So many people. Yeah, it'll be a fun time. So going there. Then, so that'll be, we leave there Sunday. We'll drive back. We'll probably get back to Delinquents Gully Monday. We'll be down here Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And then we're going to head north to Illinois, to Hinckley, Illinois, to visit Nate and Aaron. We're having the workshop / Two Chicks Homestead get together there. We've got a crowd lined up for that already. And Lord willing, and all goes well, I will be pulling into the yard on May 15th. And that will end up being, I know I've told you guys this a bunch of times, but a 58-day road trip, I believe. 2 days ago was the midway point. So I'm actually past the midway point. And I'm already starting to think about ways I could stay longer. I'm not going to stay any longer, but I'm just going to miss it. I've been just enjoying the hell out of, sweating my, going crazy anyway, sweating my baguettes off here and having a great time, just working and getting stuff done. So there's that. I love it out here in the Gully. We've, Brian and Corey are 2 of our closest friends, which makes it nice to have them nearby. And they might be closer than where they are even. I'm not going to give it away, but they'll things are working out where they're going to be really close to the Gully. Let's put it that way. So that's pretty exciting. What day was it? Monday? I think it was Monday. I messaged John Willis last week sometime, and I said, hey, I want to interview you for the Patreon, which is great. And he's like, yep. And I said, you name the date and time, John. You're busy. You've got a business. I'm down here on my own time working. So he messages me on Monday. He's like, how about now? I was like, damn it. No. So I was in Savannah. That's when I just loaded up the entire truck with lumber. And I thought, okay, yeah. I said, I'll make it work. I'll be there in 3 hours because Savannah's anyway. So I drive back to Delinquents Gully, and Brian and I had done some work, which now allows us, this might sound funny, but probably allows me to get maybe 4 4 or 5 truck lengths deeper into the woods. A couple of more stumps, if I can cut those out, and I will be able to get the truck all the way to the bridge that Kerry built. So that's going to be great. Excuse me. Sorry, guys. Anyway, so I rush back here, unload everything on the ground, and just leave it there for, I guess it was Tuesday that Brian and I hauled everything up. We were about 4 hours in the heat, just lugging. And so everything in this cabin, the 16 by 16 cabin with the deck all the way around, every single piece has been carried up that hill. So that's kind of cool. It's nice to have friends that work with you. So yeah. So then I went up and we had a awesome. So I try to keep the Patreon interviews to around a half an hour because I don't want to take people's time. Anyway, John and I went on for an hour and 15 minutes, and then after we finished the interview, we sat and talked for probably another hour and a half. So that was great. I love catching up with John. We had a hell of a time. So spoiler alert, we talked about content creation and conspiracy theories, not together, but separately in one interview. And we probably did 45 minutes or so on how to get started, what to do for content creation, and then 15 to 30 minutes on conspiracy theories. I thought it'd be a lot of fun to do something different. So that interview in its entirety will probably be next month's. I've got, I don't even know, probably close to 2 years worth of interviews lined up at this point, saved that I've done. But I think the John one is going to be next month because it was fire, man. It was great. But I'll probably do a 10 or 15 minute cut that'll be free on the YouTube channel. And then for folks who want to subscribe for the $5 a month Patreon, you are more than welcome to do it. Monday night, Becky and I, when she lands in Nashville, we're going to go that evening to see the movie Civil War, which I'm stoked to see. And then I believe if everything works out, John and I are going to record. I don't think we're going to do it live. I think we're going to do kind of a review on it, but we want to get it online before. Hang on here, see if we can. Whoa, that is bright. There, how's that? There we go. See if we can attract some stink bugs. Yeah, so I've also learned what a stink bug is, and they stink. They smell like mothballs for anybody who wants to know. They're awful. Every time you hit one, you're like, damn it. Now my hand's going to smell like mothballs for the rest of the night. So yeah, I think John and I are going to record a review and a discussion of that movie because I was talking to him about it the other day, and he's like, I won't talk to you until you've seen it. So that should be good. If that works out. If it doesn't, that's cool too. But I'll definitely share my thoughts with you on that. So I mentioned ticks. We've had a few snakes around, just baby ones, but we did see, I don't know, it was hard to gauge. I was guessing maybe 3 feet, but 2 to 3 feet. I think they're called a rat snake. They're the ones you want around here because they eat the eggs of the venomous snakes, and they eat critters and things like that. So Corey spied it the other day going across a tree close to where the stream runs through just a little bit. So I've been trying to brush myself up on which snakes are venomous in the area and what to do with them. But I went into the hardware store today and they filled me in on a lot of that anyway. But so I believe there's 4 venomous in this area. 3 of them are rattlers, and one of them is a cottonmouth. And they said the one you want to now, if anybody from Tennessee that wants to, correct me on any of this, but for the most part, rattlers, and maybe it's another type too, are basically more scared of you than they are of them. And if they see you or you startle them, as long as you don't step on them or try to pick them up, they'll tend to go in the other direction. But they warned me about the cottonmouths. They said, I believe cottonmouths are black. And I said, well, how do you recognize them? They said, as soon as they open their damn mouth, their mouth is white as can be. And they're aggressive. They're the type that'll try to chase you, and they're the type that'll put you in the hospital, I guess. So anyway, that's the one to watch out for. But they tend to only be in like marshy, boggy areas. Again, just something as a prepper who looks out for preparedness and that sort of thing. I kind of would like to know what type of things I'm dealing with in this area. So Brian has a very serious question. He says, how do you get the moth's legs apart to smell their balls? Well, I don't. Somebody else does that. And then they sell them for, I guess, to deter moths or something. I'm not really sure, but I haven't done it. And it's like the old, the joke about when you pick up chicken balls at the Chinese food restaurant and, chickens don't have any balls. Well, I guess they don't, but they're tasty. So there you go. Any other projects that I've been working on? just honestly been working, sun up till almost sunset. Most evenings I've enjoyed an hour or two of just chilling out here on the deck. It's been just great. Been listening to a lot of country music. I picked up a little radio so I could put the FM station on here so I'd have some background noise while I'm working, and it's good. I've actually been quite impressed with the state of country music at the moment, for those who care to know about that, but I've been enjoying that. I listen to a station out of Jackson, Tennessee quite a bit. There is a station out of Savannah, which isn't bad. The DJs aren't quite as good on there, but that is what it is. So as far as most of the food that I brought out here is like packaged stuff, so it's meat or freeze-dried meat, but I have kept a thing of creamer, and I've been keeping a lot of drinks cold. Two things. We picked up a cheap cooler last year. It does not hold the ice for very long. I need to bring my other cooler down. However, I did buy one that I thought had a battery pack, but turns out it was only electric. The battery pack is, surprise, dun, 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 extra $200. So I don't have that yet. But once Becky and I are down here for full-time, it won't be full-time, but once we're, snowbirding it more, then I'll definitely have that here. I've got some room now to install the wood stove, so that's going to come. So if I could get the little building done for the, if I get the building done and a toilet installed in the building, I would consider that an absolute win for this trip, to have the cabin quadrupled in size like I'd planned. And if I can get a working composting toilet installed up here, then that'd be great. We do have one on the property, but I have to go down the hill, up the hill, and over by the truck, which, you can figure it out. But it would be nice to have one up here, especially if Becky's going to be coming up. So I'd like to have that done before she gets here. And then, I guess I'll have a few. When I just listed out to you guys what days I had to deal with, I've got quite a few more days yet to plan and build than I thought I would. So as long as the weather cooperates, I should get a lot done here. So and Brian has been, he's coming over tomorrow too. What a great, so awesome to have him to come by. He helped me out quite a bit today. He did most of the rafter installation. I did the running, and then I got my ass up on the roof and put all the metal roofing down. So it's done. I was happy. It worked out good. Picked up, so I got 2 windows to put in back there, 1 door. We may put some cross breeze windows in, but I'm not sure yet. Also, Brian and I were talking about, if you haven't seen it yet, I will show you a picture. I don't have it here. It's down by the toilet, but we named the toilet Mel's Hole. If you're an Art Bell fan, you'll get it. But Carrie Brown painted up a beautiful sign that says Mel's Hole Workshop 2024, I believe. And we were looking the other day, and we think there's just enough room to mount it right above the door on the crapper. So that's a perfect spot to put that sign. And got the wringer washer. I got to bring that up. Other than that, I think that updates you. I really should have taken some notes, but I just wanted to have an excuse to drink some beer, watch the sunset, and hang out with you guys, because I think it's been just about a week. So what's coming up the rest of this week? So you won't see any more live streams until Sunday. So Sunday night will be This Week in Prepping. Tomorrow I'm having it, like I said, a cigar and a bourbon night with some guys, and we're gonna and a lady or two maybe. I think Corey will be there. I'm pretty sure. So that'll be fun. We'll have a hell of a time with that. And then Saturday evening we're going to the drive-in, but in between I'll be doing more work on the property. And then Sunday will be an all day out here, get work done, and then I'll do the live stream with you that evening. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this. Let's see here. Let's finish this up. Not quite. There's still a little bit of bush light in there. I guess I lied, but it'll be finished in just a minute. But I gotta message old mama here and have a chat with her, because she's getting ready to leave tonight, and she needs to pack up some stuff that she's going to bring down with her for me. So this month's patch just showed up, so she'll be bringing that down so I can ship it stateside. I got a bottle of 40-year-old stuff that I'm taking to Nicole's for LFTN, so there'll be that. And so anyway, guys, I appreciate you. Thanks for sitting out here on the deck at Delinquents Gully. I'm going to end it here, go in and write my manifesto, and chat with my missus. So as always, guys, stay happy, stay healthy, and have a great week.